Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Ink comparison day. I thought I'd start by comparing some green inks. So my two inks today. It's by Diamine. This is Sherwood Green. Nice foresty green, isn't it? And I thought, well, a forest colour. Let's go up against Dominant Industry Forest. Different shaped bottle. Let's just look how different those bottles are. Join me now, down on the table. We'll take a look at the swatches, look at the chromatography, we'll do a writing sample, we'll look at some writing in my Tomoe River notebook, then I'll give you my thoughts on these inks. Welcome down to the table. So here we've got the two inks. We've got the Diamine Sherwood Green. This is in the 30ml bottle, so it's a plastic bottle. One of the downsides with these bottles, and I think I've said this a lot of the time, it's not a very wide neck, so a lot of my pens don't fit in there. I need to either use a syringe or I need to use my ink miser. Then we've got here as well, it's a standard ink, Dominant Industry, and it's a forest. Bottle glass, beautiful shaped. It's only 25ml, so it's actually less volume than what we're getting with the Sherwood Green. But the bottle is very nice. Now these caps often, like you can see here, stick. Take a bit of the pressure to get going. Let's just take this off slowly. But we do have a wider neck, which means that generally most of my pens will fit in there. Let's just pop the lid back on this. So they're my two bottles. We'll take a look at the swatch cards. So here we've got Sherwood Green, here we've got Dominant Industry. So with the Sherwood Green, it is what I expect. It's a nice, really nice, reminds me of a forest type green. Whereas the Dominant Industry Forest, maybe it's just me, but to me it looks a bit more on the blue side, especially when we're seeing it against the Sherwood Green. And I've got to be honest, it is less reminiscent of a forest to me. But again, this is just the way that I interpret the colours. Your interpretation may be different. But still, they're both very nice. If we turn over the cards, we can see the chromatographies. Very different chromatographies, aren't they? So with the Sherwood Green, we've got a lot of blue at the bottom. Then we go into these gorgeous bright greens. Then into a bit more blue near the top. With the forest, this is more to me, it's like more of a purple or a lavender type colour at the bottom. Then we're heading into the yellows. Then into pale blue. And I do see what to my eye looks like a little bit of a fringe of red right at the top there. Move this out of the way. Let's fetch in the notepad of testing. This is Oxford Optic paper. It's an A5 black and red notebook. What we're going to do is do some writing samples. We're going to start with the Sherwood Green here. My pen for my writing samples, this is a Serendipity dip pen. It's got a broad Yoho nib on it. It's a pen that I use for all my ink videos just to try and keep a little bit of consistency. So my process for doing my writing samples, I dip the nib in, give it a good drink, I then scribble off the excess on a piece of paper, then I'll come in here and do the writing sample. So we've got here Diamine, Sherwood Green. Now, I priced both these inks up from Cult Pens, and I priced them up about a week ago. Now, the price that I found on Cult Pens is $4.58. That's for a 30ml bottle, which works out at 15 cents per milliliter. Let's write a sentence. Then I'll do my scribble test. Still loads of ink left in there. I could go on and on scribbling. I do like this green. I can see some nice shading coming through in it as well. Just going to step away from the table for a minute and I'm going to give that pen a clean. So I'm starting off with a clean pen. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. Would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. So what I do when I'm cleaning these out, I pull out the nib and feed and I clean them under cold running water. I also clean out the inside of the pen. I then dry them off on a bit of kitchen roll. And now let's pop this back together. There we go, and we can test the second ink. So that's now nice. So the second ink, Dominant Industry Forest. And then same as the other one, we give the pen a drink and I'll scribble it off on some notepad and then come in and do my writing sample. So we've got here Dominant Industry Forest. This ink is $14.67. That's for a 25 milliliter bottle. That works out at 59 cents per milliliter. So per milliliter, 4 times the cost of that Diamine ink. Our sentence: then scribbles. Writing with it, it looks a lot greener than the swatch did. I think that's quite interesting, that. Just going to move this to one side to give it a chance to dry. And whilst it's drying, we're going to take a look at the Tomoe River 52 GSM paper. Now, the pen I did my writing samples with both used this pen. This is the Hongdian N8. So I tried to keep a consistent pen for these tests. So looking over here we've got the forest. In fact, we don't want the forest first, do we? Let's jump back to Sherwood Green. Here we've got the Sherwood Green. Nice bright ink, loads of shading coming through. I see loads of shading regardless of paper. Very pretty green. Did have a bit of an issue down here with the nib, with a bit of railroading. But all in all, very nice, not overly wet. With the forest, so again, looks bluer again. I think the Sherwood Green is the one that reminds me more of a forest. This is still nice. I would call it, is it spearminty type colour? I'm thinking maybe. But even so, this is still quite a pretty colour. I don't mind it. I just think it's not a forest colour, but that's, as I say, just the way I interpret the colours. We'll fetch in that other paper again. Here we are, back with the optic paper. I think they both look nice. With the Sherwood Green, does look greener to me. Does look more foresty. I see some shading in here. We've got some dark places. Reminds me a little bit of walking through a forest. That Dominant Industry Forest, as it dries, takes on more blue tones. Again, this is just my personal view. Don't see as much shading. I still see a little tiny bit. But although it's not a forest colour, I actually prefer the colour of this ink. It's more unusual. Whereas the Sherwood Green, it is what it says. It's a green. Very interesting to see how I feel about them. Prices are what's really interesting. 4 times the cost for this Dominant Industry Forest. I wonder how much of that is the extra cost for these bottles, these glass bottles. Just got this nice weight down at the bottom here where it's clear. That's got to add into the cost of it. But overall, very nice. I like both these inks. So they're my thoughts on Diamine Sherwood Green and Dominant Industry Forest. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on these inks? What other greens do you like? What other greens are there, maybe in this similar foresty tone, that might be worth me trying? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.